I've seen players from Spurs have to force their way out of there because Daniel Levy does make it incredibly hard. For Harry Kane, with the gentleman's agreement, I get it. Daniel Levy probably has said to him, do you know what I mean, give me one more year and I'll allow you to go. But I think the gentleman part of that agreement will be under Daniel Levy's terms in terms of I'll let you go if someone pays the right money. So it's a little bit of both. But for Harry Kane not to turn up to training, you wouldn't expect that from him. I mean, I've heard some people say it's totally disrespectful, and it is a little bit disrespectful to his teammates, to the club. But I hate when people also say, look, he came through at Tottenham, we gave him everything, because I think he's more than repaid them in terms of his performances. I mean, his goals to games ratio is crazy. He's been their talisman. I don't think the club would have grown in the way it has done if it wasn't for Harry Kane and his goals and what they've done. But to spend that amount of money, will he go? I can't see Daniel even accept it. If he's not said yes to 100 million, how far are City willing to go? I can't see them going to 130, 140. So ultimately, I can see him end up staying.
160 was the number that was knocking about, wasn't
no
it?
One's paying that.
That he'd be valued at for Spurs.
No one's paying that. No one's paying that.
What you just said there about being disrespectful to his teammates, other people saying it's unprofessional, he's under contract, why sign a long contract if you're wanting to leave in the first place? And the idea that there is this gentleman's agreement, it's murky waters really with that, isn't it? Because for it to get to that point, and from what we know as people, I mean, I don't know him personally, I don't know if you do, but from an outsider's perspective, looking in, all you can really do is judge him on what he has been like so far, in terms of how we perceive him to be, and that's always incredibly professional.
Yeah.
So you'd almost feel if it's got to this point, something would have really had to have happened to put him in that water.
He's hurting. He's hurting because he's given a lot to that football club, scored a lot of goals. Yes, of course, there's not been any returns on trophies, which I understand, but he's given everything to that football club. There's been times where they've wheeled him out there when we can all see from an outside perspective he's not fully fit, but he still gets himself out there, still turns up when they need him to. And when I say it's kind of disrespectful to his teammates though will understand the situation he's in, because I remember being at Spurs, the same kind of situation where Berbatov wanted to go to Manchester United, and I think he went on the last day, and yeah, he was a little bit subdued. I mean, he was always subdued around the training ground, Berba, but he was a little bit more subdued, and you can understand at the time Manchester United were the best team in the country. They wanted him to be their centre forward. I can understand why he wanted to go. So us as teammates, we said, well, we kind of get it. But it's still a little bit difficult in terms of how far does Harry Kane is willing to go. I think Berbatov would have gone all the way to force that move to Man United. I think he would have done everything he could to get out. I don't think Harry Kane would do that because, yes, he's missed the first day of training, but can I see him just completely sitting out and just not playing? I can't see him doing that.
Did you resent Berbatov at all?
No, because we understood it as players. Like, I'm pretty sure every player in that dressing room at Spurs at the time would have wanted to play for Manchester United. They were the best team in the country. So now they wanted, obviously, Berbatov, our centre forward. How can us as players begrudge him wanting to make that move? Of course we couldn't.
If this was another player, if it wasn't the England captain, if it wasn't Harry Kane, would he get a lot more stick?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what player it is. Now, if you talk about someone like a Paul Pogba, I see Rio tweeted yesterday, if it's Paul Pogba, oh my goodness, he'd be getting absolute pelters. Absolute. He's unprofessional. Look at the state of him. Get rid of him. Let him go. You'd be hearing all that. But then you'd have to say, again, Paul Pogba for Manchester United has not put in the level of performance that Harry Kane has put in for Spurs. Harry Kane has been unbelievable for Spurs, which is, I get why some fans are a little bit like, well, he's always shown up. Whenever they've needed him, he's shown up. But to see how this is going to end, I said I can't see anyone paying more than 120 million for him. That is not going to be the case. So
in this climate,
I just can't see it happening.
There's a big part of me that thinks City will still do it. They'll still do it.
Him and Grealish.
Because somebody, I don't know if they need Grealish. Somebody tweeted in earlier on, Peter in Leeds said, hi Laura and Darren, Kane has had injuries and he's 27. He's actually 28 now, I think.
Yeah.
So if Man City pay more than 100 million, they've been done. Pete Wilson. The thing is, though, for a short-term gain, I don't care if he's 28, he's going to score you a bag of goals, a lot of goals. And everybody knows what Man City want and what they need.
Yeah.
And is that going to be what they need to undo the holy grail of a Champions League?
Someone of his quality, okay, if he goes to Manchester City, yeah, but they've already won the Premier League, but that takes them closer to the Champions League. They got to the final. But then again, if he was to go to Chelsea, that takes Chelsea over the edge. That gets them closer. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. Harry Kane's one of them strikers. Even if he went to Manchester United with what they're already building, with Jadon Sancho, Varane looks like he's close to signing. If Harry Kane was to go there as well, all of a sudden they then become close to winning the title. So He is that good that he could be the difference.
Well, let me ask you a question, because apparently there's £100 million bid in for Romelu Lukaku from Chelsea. Oof. So if that happens and Lukaku finds himself coming back to Chelsea, back to the Premier League, what does that do in terms of if you saw Romelu Lukaku at Chelsea, Harry Kane at City, for example?
I'd still give City the slight edge. But listen, Lukaku is what you call ease. If you're asking me, would I pay 100 million for Lukaku or 150 for Kane? I'll give me Lukaku every day of the week. 100 million for him. See how good he was in the previous big tournament, and how good he was for Inter last year.
Give me the Euros.
The Euros, yeah. The Euros last season. And Inter Milan last year. There's no one on the planet. 150 for Kane or 100 million for Lukaku. I'm going Lukaku every day of the week.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods. Monday to Wednesday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.